Hi everyone, it's Michelle from FireFit Hub here. We're going to be doing a tutorial on how to upcycle clothes. So to start off, we're going to be making a bag out of an old t-shirt, and then we're going to learn how to make a rug from an old t-shirt as well. I'm just going to wait for some more people to join. So if you want to get yourself a drink or something, we're going to be starting in 5 minutes. So we'll just wait a few more minutes until a few more people join, and then I'll give a run through on the materials you need and what we'll be doing, and then we'll jump straight into it. Right, so we'll get started on the first activity, and what we'll be making is a bag. So a groceries bag that you can go and take to the shops, and that will save you getting plastic bags all the time, but you can also use it, to go and do whatever. It doesn't have to be for shopping, but that's what a lot of people use this type of bag for. So what you'll need is an old t-shirt. The bigger the better, really, if you want a big bag. We don't need that for now. We need some sewing equipment if you've got it, but be really careful. So we'll need sewing needles. I'm going to use a bigger sewing needle today, just so you can see more clear. Yeah, I'm going to use this one today. And then we need some string or some sewing thread. So I'm going to use this thick string just so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. And this will work fine actually, but if you want it to be less visible, use a small string. But I think actually the thicker string makes it more secure. So it might be good to get like a thick string. And I'm going to be using a needle as well about this size. You need some pins if you have them. Just be really careful at home if you're using pins. If you've got an adult at home, it might be good for them to help you or supervise, but if you're doing it on your own, that's fine. Just be really careful when you're using pins. And you need about 10. If you don't have pins, it doesn't matter. You can weigh it down with some heavy objects. So when we're cutting, you can just, weigh it down with some heavy items. That would be fine as well, but I'm going to use pins because it's easier. So we'll get started. You're going to lay the t-shirt out in front of you like this and make sure it's really flat. So make sure there's no creases and that both layers are lined up together. And when it's lined up together like this, just pin along the edge. So we're not going to be cutting this part, so you only need to put the pins really along this edge because we're going to be cutting along here. If you have a pen or chalk or a pencil or anything at home, you can draw a semicircle along because we're going to cut off the arms and the neck. And we're going to cut like a semicircle like this. It doesn't need to be perfect, so you don't need to draw around anything. Just cut along here. But if you do have a pen, it will make it a bit easier, but I'm not going to use one. And the pins make sure that both layers are even. So if you cut in without pins, just be aware that it might not line up. And that's fine if it doesn't line up completely perfect, but it just makes it a lot easier if it does. And just be really careful if you're pinning, not to put your thumb or any of your fingers over the place that you're pinning. Try and keep it quite far away. That just saves you from pricking yourself with the needle. So if you can see, I've got needles lined up along the edge like this. And I'm just going to cut along the outside of the needles. So the needles are here, and I'm going to cut on the outside. So I'm going to cut around the sleeves and the neck. And when you're doing this, make sure you cut in both layers. Be careful when you're using sharp scissors as well at home. I forgot to say at the beginning of the video as well that you should make your t-shirt inside out. So if you've got like a pattern on the front of the t-shirt, if you do it inside out, we're going to turn it the right way so the pattern's going to be on the front. And I'm going to keep the pins in and sew along the edge. So I'm going to use this thick string, and I want quite a long piece. About this long. If it's too short, it doesn't matter. You can always stop and then carry on. So you don't need to be too careful with this. And then I'm going to thread the needle. Sometimes you need to get a bit of water on the end. To make it easier to thread. I need a bigger needle actually, that's too small. This string is really hard to thread, but I've just done it. And then when you've threaded the string, pull it through so you've got like two parts of string like this. So the end, you want to pull it through quite far because if you don't, it's going to keep falling out. And then at the other end, tie a big knot. I like to double up the string when I tie the knot and tie a double knot too, just so you know it's not gonna pull through. And then you can start at any edge that you want to. And we're gonna start, see this part's already sewn together. We're gonna start at the part that you've just cut, and we're gonna go along the outer edge of the needles this time. So the pins are there, and we're gonna go on the outer edge. So I hope you can see this because it's really small, the needle, but you're gonna go under. If you don't know how to sew, it's really easy. Under like this and pull the needles through and you'll feel the knot get stuck. And then through again, about 5 centimeters from the last place where the needle went through. You're going to put it through, going down this time. So your stitches want to be about this big. I'll do one here so you can see what I'm doing. So on this side, it's pulled through. Pull it through like this. And then on the other side. So I'm just going to carry on and sew the full semicircle until I get to the other end that's already been sewn. And then to secure it, I'll show you what to do. So just carry on sewing. It doesn't have to be perfect or neat because it's going to get turned inside out anyway, so you won't be able to see. And as you're sewing past each pin, you can just take it out and put it in the container that you've got your pins in. Try not to leave pins lying around everywhere because if you forget about them and put your hand on one, you're going to injure yourself. If you make a mistake like I just have, just pull it out and then rethread the needle. When you're doing this at home, you can make the stitches a bit smaller. I'm doing them this big so it's fast. It will work, but you might not be able to put like smaller objects in if the stitches are really big like mine. So you'll be able to put like a water bottle or a lunchbox or something like that, or some shopping like fruit and veg. You'll be able to fit that in, but if you have like a pencil in there, it might fall out. So if you want to carry smaller objects in the bag, just make the stitches smaller. And as you pass each pin, just take it out. If you've got a sewing machine at home, that would work even better. But if you don't, you can hand sew it, it will still work. But if you have a sewing machine or whoever you live with has a sewing machine, you could ask them just to sew this part for you. That would be a lot better, really. I'm coming up to the part that isn't cut now, so once you get to that part and you finish, you need to secure the stitch. So what you do, you make one stitch and then you go back over it again. So the same stitch you've just made, you're going to go back over it like that. And then you'll see this loop. When you pull it, it disappears. So the loop, you need to put the needle through the loop so it makes a knot and then pull. See, I'll do that again. So sew over like this. And then the loop, put the needle through and pull it tight. So if we turn this inside out, it should look like this. And because my stitches were quite big, you can see them, but that doesn't really matter. But if you do smaller stitches or use a sewing machine, you won't really be able to see them. So what we're going to do now is make the handle. And all I'm going to do to make the handle is on just one side I'll do first, is be really careful when you're doing this. Make a little hole. If you've got a pen or a pencil, you can draw it on first. And then on the other side. and get each hole lined up so it's in the same place, like that. And then stretch the hole like this. And there's your handle. So we're going to add some more little slits in the bag, and this is for decoration really. So you can use, again, a pencil or a pen and a ruler, but I'm just going to freestyle it. So you can draw dashes in lines with a ruler all along the bag. And then once you've drawn them, you cut them, and you just do one side for now. And then we'll make little slits where you've drawn the lines. Nothing too big, just little slits like this. And I'm just doing this in the first layer for now. I might do it in the back depending on what it looks like, but it's really up to you how many slits you do and what size. I quite like making a lot. I just think it looks nice, but it's up to you. You don't even have to put these slits in it. If you've got like a big design on the bag, on the t-shirt, sorry, and it comes on the front of your bag, you can just leave it like that. If you've not drawn the lines, what I do is just pinch the material like that. So I'll grab the first layer, fold it over, and then cut like this. Just again, be really careful when you're using scissors, and make sure before you cut that your fingers aren't in the way. Just be really careful. And then when you've put all the holes in the bag, you're going to stretch them like this. So you're going to grab each side of the hole and stretch. You might hear it rip a little bit, that's fine. Just be careful not to rip. If you hear it like cracking and ripping, don't do it too hard because it might rip into the next little slit that you've cut, and then you're going to end up with a big hole in the bag, and then all your stuff's going to fall out. So just pull it quite hard, but you'll feel when it's about to rip. So just don't pull really hard straight away. Just give it some time. So we're going to do this to every little slice that you've made. And there's your new little bag. So it's a nice way just to like use an old t-shirt that would have been thrown away. So now we're going to do another tutorial. And again, we're going to look at how to use old clothes. So if you or anyone in your family have old clothes that they can't take to the charity shop, you can use them. And also some wool or string we're going to use too. So we need some old clothes, wool or string, sellotape, scissors, and a weaving needle, which is like a really blunt, it's not sharp, and it's got a little loop on the end. But if you don't have one of these at home, you can use a hair clip, like a bobby pin, or you can use a paper clip, and instead of putting the string through or the clothes through, you can just tie it on the end. So if you don't have one of these, you can use something else. And an old piece of cardboard as well. So old clothes, wool or string, a weaving needle, a paper clip you can use instead, or a hair clip, and some sellotape, scissors, cardboard. We're going to start with the cardboard facing you like this, so lengthways. And along the top and along the bottom, you're going to cut little slots. And these don't need to be perfect. So just cut like that along the top. They don't have to be perfect. You don't really need to count them. But if you want to, you can count and then do the same amount on the bottom. But it doesn't really matter. And what we're going to be making out of the old clothes is a wall hanging or a rug. You can actually use it as a little rug. And once you've got your board ready, You're going to cut the clothes into strips. I think you can rip them as well actually, but some clothes rip easier, this one doesn't, so I'm just going to cut. Doesn't need to be really neat or anything like that. And cut them into as long as possible. So if you start on the bottom, you can keep cutting around and round. So start at the bottom of the clothes where the seam is, and you'll be able to keep going and making a really long strip. So if you get to the first part where you started cutting, just move up a little bit and carry on like this. You can do this with any old material, so you can do it with a t-shirt or a dress or old bedding or a tea towel. You can do it with anything. So I'm going really fast, so mine's a bit messy, which it doesn't matter. But if you're at home and you've got all day to do it, you can do it a bit neater than I am now. I'm going to do one more round. I'm going to do a smaller version because I've only got half an hour to show you what to do. But if you're doing it at home, you can use a much bigger cardboard box, and that will be better if you want to make a rug. But I'll just show you the mini version now. So once you've got your big strip, you're going to start on the first slot you've made. You're going to put it through like this. And then use the sellotape to stick it down so it doesn't come loose. And when you're sticking the sellotape down, make sure you don't cover any of the other slots. So that's stuck down. And then you pull it to the opposite slot on the underneath, like that. And then when it's pulled to the other side, you're going to go around like that. And then it will come back to the other side. And then you just carry on like that. So in the slot, behind, around. And stretch it really tight. You don't want it to be loose. I actually like mine to be quite messy because it adds some texture. Like, it doesn't need to be really neat. It's meant to be a wall hanging or a rug, so you want more texture. So we just want to keep hooking the material on each little, we'll call it a tooth, each little tooth. And then once you get to the end, you can either carry on and cut some more and fill it up to the end, but because I'm in a bit of a hurry, I'll just keep it small. So if you've run out, just cut more strips, tie a knot in the end there, and then keep on threading it through the little teeth. And then stick down with sellotape. So you should be left like this. And then I'm going to cut some more strips. I'm not going to cut them as long this time. I'm going to cut some different colours, so and this is up to you which colours you want to use and where you want to put them. So you're going to make your own little pattern. That's up to you to decide. So you're just going to cut a few different colours. It's nice to have some contrast, so I like these light pink colours, and I'm going to use some dark grey to go with it as well. But like I said before, it's really up to you. And again, just be really careful when you're cutting stuff out. Make sure you ask whoever you live with if it's okay for you to be using sharp scissors. If you've got pants or leggings like this, it will be easier to cut straight up. These might rip. And you can cut each strip out as thin or as thick as you want, and you can always add some wool into it as well to create a new texture. But if you've got no wool, it doesn't matter, you can do it with old clothes or any material. So once you've got a few strips cut out, you can start. You're going to thread one end through the needle. If you're using a bobby pin, you just thread it through the little loop in the bobby pin, or if you're using a paper clip, do the same thing like this. And make sure there's a little bit coming through at the end so it doesn't fall off. And you're going to start from, you can start from either side. I like to start from the right. And you're going to go under, over, under, over. If you make a mistake, just go back, but it really doesn't matter. You can't tell if you make a mistake and go under twice or over twice, something like that. It doesn't matter. and then you're going to pull it through. If you've got a fork at home, an old fork, you can use that to push it down. That's really easy. But if you've not, you can just use your hands like this and pull it down. I went under on the last piece of material. I went under, so when you're going back, you want to do the opposite. So it's under. I'm going to go over instead. See, so I last went under. I'm going to go on top, and then the next one that was over. So I need to go under. And pull it through. Once you practice this a few times, you'll get really fast at doing it. And then again, opposite, so it was over last time, so I'm going to go under. And just keep doing this. Until it runs out. I made a mistake then, so just go back and take the needle out and start again if you want to, but it really doesn't matter if you make a mistake. There's only a little bit of material left there, so I'm not going to try and stretch it out. So if you can see that you're running out and it's not going to reach the other side, just leave it hanging like this. And then move on to your new colour. You can do it all one colour, it really doesn't matter. It's just up to you. So starting from where it's left off, tie a little knot in it. And then start again. Where you've put the knot, you can actually cut the ends that have come through, just to make it look a little bit neater, or you can actually leave it just hanging. We're going to carry on with a few more rows like this, and then I'm going to show you how to make a fringe. And as you're going along, just make sure you're really pushing the material down like this. And we're going to carry on doing this. You can make a few of these and then tie them together and it will make a scarf, or you can put it on the wall, or you can make a rug out of it. Just up to you, whatever you want to do with it. I'm going to show you how to add a fringe now, which are like more textured parts. I'll use the string to do this. Actually, I'll use more material in case you've not got string at home. I'll show you how to do it with material. You're going to cut some more strips, but you want them to be quite a lot shorter than the ones we've done before. And I'm rushing now because I've not got much time to show you what to do, but at home, if you do it a bit slower, make it a bit neater for this part. This little technique we're going to do now, you can add it throughout the whole of your weave. You don't even need to do this part if you don't want to. You can just do the tassels throughout. So it's really up to you how you want it to look and what colours you want to use and stuff like that. But I like to just add a few rows of tassels because that's what I think looks best. So if you get one strip and put it over the top of two pieces of string, so put it over the top like this flat, and then you're going to take one side and tuck it under. So the left, I think it's right that will come up on there, but the left side of the strip, you're going to tuck it under the left piece of string and pull it through, and the right, tuck it under the right and pull it through in the middle. Like that. And you're going to pull it to the top and then pull it down. So we'll do that again, but a bit closer. So you've done these two, start on the next two, put it flat over the top, tuck one side under, then the other side under, grab both ends, pull it up and then pull it down. And then the two that are in the middle of the four that you've just done, you're going to do it again there. And you can do the whole weave just using this technique, and you can make like a fluffy rug. So you can do the whole thing like this, or you can just add little bits wherever you want to. I just like adding a row or two. And then I'm going to add some string just to add some new texture. And pull it to the end again, just like you did with the material. I'm going to do one last row and then show you how to finish it. So if you carry on like this and just keep weaving the material until you get to the top, I'll show you how to take it off. So you can either make a few of them, sew them together, make a scarf, make a rug or a wall hanging, It looks really nice. So I can't show you how to do both sides, but it's the same for both. So you're going to take the sellotape off and just bend the teeth in, and each loop you're just going to take it off, unhook it like this. And when you finish the top, that's all you need to do. Just unhook it and then tie a knot where you first started. Tie a knot together. Obviously, I can't show you how to do both sides, but it's just the same. But that's all we're going to do today, and hope you have fun doing it at home. Thank you. Bye.